Barb's going to bed. She's getting all tuckered in. Excuse me a second. Ow. Confounded. Confounded. I see you, sir. He said, leave me be. I'm frisbidgety. Sally just woke up from a nap. So I gotta do series. I'm gonna put a different location. I'm gonna look at the map on the United States. And then when I do these talks, I'm gonna pick a location of some place on the map where I've been, and I'll tell stories about the time that I had in the place. And right now I picked Louisiana because Louisiana seems to be having some sort of weather events in the northern parts. I didn't visit the northern part. I went to Hammond and did the touristy New Orleans thing in 2010. I swam in that lake. I went across that big old long road. I didn't even realize the significance that's like the longest causeway. Because I'd been on bridges in Florida and I feels like that they're longer. But I guess this is the longest stretch over water. I don't know. I've done a lot of really cool historical neat stuff without knowing I was doing cool neat stuff until later. I just sent a friend of mine a video, a link. I take a lot of photos. It's how I record history. My perspective of history. And it was 2,121 photos of the trip I took 11 years ago for my 40th birthday when I went to Las Vegas. Like, I have proof of how vibrant Las Vegas was. The MGM Grand with, like, I mean, and then we went to this place called the Barton Ranch. And I think it's in Utah. I'm pretty sure it's in Utah. And then you take a helicopter ride down into Grand Canyon, and then you go whee rafting. Hey, what's up? Welcome to my tube. I'm just an old lady that likes to tell stories of my life, you know, in hopes for a better tomorrow. I'm not really in Hammond, Louisiana. I just have spent time there, and that's like my new thing that I'm going to do is when I do a YouTube talk, I don't usually do talks this late either. I'm not really that nice. Don't let my smile fool you. I eat a lot of, I call them margeables. I make margeables. We'll just call them that. Hey, what's up? Welcome to my tube. My name's Marge. I'm a Heoka. I am old as shit. I'm over halfway to a honey. Yeah, that's how old I am. And I spread tea like Fitty. I know I look like, I mean, I was just telling stories about the history that I've been a part of. No, I don't play games. I do like competition, but I'm not really big into games. Yeah, I don't play reindeer games. I don't really like clubs, stuff like that. Hey, what's up? Glad you're coming through. Anyway, I called today's talk. Mom's just laying down. My name's Marge. I'm a stay-at-home daughter. I've been doing these YouTube video talks for 7, 8, 9 years now, since 2017. And I just document my life. And then I collect a lot of data, and then I see how the future is going to go. I'm pretty accurate. I use a lot of astrology too. Please, you don't need to sub, because when I'm going to say something one day, it's going to piss you off and you're going to unsub. So Just remember this conversation that day. And if you do, I mean, I appreciate it. I don't really do this for subs, you know? Like, I, I appreciate it. I don't, it's not why I'm here. It's just, it gives me something to do to talk about how I feel about things, because when I feel powerless, I get angry. And mom taught me a long time ago, I'm autistic, that you talk about your feelings, you don't throw things, you don't hit. And so I've had this, I'm like a female Forrest Gump with dollops of Sarah Connor. I was 25 when I enlisted in the military to go to college in the year 2000. And I didn't just go to school because I knew that I was going to take care of mom forever, because when I was 15, a man slammed her head in a car door. I hope you have a good one. Birthday. And so I knew when she took care of her for a long time, but I knew I was going to be a stay-at-home daughter. But I had to set myself up to be able to take care of her. And so my brother is very programmed. He's the system. He's Big Brother. Yeah, my brother is Big Brother. He is the program. So I'm pretty anti-establishment. I don't like clubs. Hey Tanya, what's up? I was telling mom a bedtime story, and there's people that aren't here so I was doing a little recap. And so he's part I was thinking about these pictures that I sent tonight. I was looking through these pictures. So I enlisted to go to college, and then I got caught up when we did that stuff in Iraq in 2003. And then when I got back, they wanted to quiet me. They wanted to silence me. So they did the science a military experiment on me, and they called it anthrax vaccines. And I got 2 at once. When I got back, that's what I got. My country gave to me. Thank you for serving your country. Here's 2 anthrax vax at once. And then they waited to see if I was going to die. And then in 2 months more, they gave me 2 more. And they did that 4 times. And I lived. Because I have to live to take care of mom. She keeps me here, and I teach the world how to take care of things. It's my Cancer rising. So 911 happened first. I was at Offutt Air Force Base. That's where baby bitch Bush came flying in from Florida. That's where the story began. That's where E4 planes are. They call them the Doomsday plane. That was the base that we supported that. I'm age. They called us age rangers, and it's funny because now I'm here to help usher in the new age. So George Bush came taxiing by the aid shop, and protocol is no in and out exits. Like, if you got to stay in, you got to find a building and stay in. And I walked in, I was over by the load bank door, and I walked in, and I was like, stupid motherfucker, and I just walked in, because he interrupts everything. It's like a big show. Like, I have to stop doing my job because of this pageantry. And, I just walked over and hung out my door, and I said, you know what? He's probably not going to look out the window, but in the hopes that he does, and there's the right time that we meet, I hope he meets my finger. And I stuck my finger out, and I then gave him the finger. So, and then I just have been telling stories ever since about my experience, because I'm still here to tell them. And I was watching Bella Sloan last night, and she's a Leo, you know, and if I wasn't in chronic pain every single day of my life and I exercise, my feet are bad. I can't walk. I can't. She gets to hike for like hours and hours and hours, and I can't do that. I wish I could. I got my weights. I got my dumbbells, so when I feel powerless, I pick up my 20-pound dumbbells and I do sets until I forget why I feel powerless. Usually sets of 300. I do sets of 100 3 times, and then sometimes, like if you go back in my history and you see like when I was really stressed out about things, like you could see my body fluctuate with like how you could tell, because I'm just burning. I'm just like I can't help what's going on, and I'm scared. So I'm gonna be a hamster on a wheel because I can't, where I live in New Mexico, northern New Mexico, there's people on their little bikes, like, oh, what a life. Like, you're gonna be on your end of your life and you're just gonna have a reel of just like a path, a road, and that's what your life is surmised to be, is just one big bike trip, like, and all the people that just like needed someone to listen to them and just relate to them as a person. But in my mind, people that get so stuck in their loops, they're not people. They're the NPCs, the ones in the stadiums. I lived in Nebraska, like I said. The Husker games. I got invited to a Husker game by Peg Martin. There's people in the United States that are like, you got invited to a Husker game by Peg Martin and you said no? I said, yeah, I don't like football. It's a waste of time to me. It's the same game played over and over and over by different groups of men in different colored uniforms, but it's one silly game, and then they just change their numbers and their stats. They're plays. They have playbooks. They're no different to me how they dance around. They're machismo, but they didn't have the guts to go into ballet. They still get to play a little grab ass though. It's just it's none of that. Good. Me and Mom are protected by the veil of obscurity. Want to hear a funny story of how we got to New Mexico? 5 years ago on the 10th of November, so it's a good time to tell that story again. We've been here 5 years. We had to leave Salem, Oregon, and I had 5 dogs and Mom and a cat. And I didn't have a lot of money. I had like $6,000, $5,000, $4,000. And I read it, and I didn't have a lot of money, and I just threw it out in the universe. I said, Tanya said, hey, she's off in Blissy land. We had spawn night. And I said, I don't know where you want to be. And back in 2017, I had dreams that the ocean waters were rising, and I didn't want to be in the Pacific Northwest. And then 2020 came, and my landlord wanted to give her house to her adult son that didn't know how to deal with society, so she needed a place to tuck him away at. So we had to go, and it was 2020. There were fires everywhere. I asked my brother to help me with a place to live, and he said, Mom's your problem. He's a big, important lawyer. At the time, he was at the office of parole. He's not in the same office anymore. And I was just like, okay, me and higher power, let's do this. I'll just put it all, and I just put out like on YouTube videos. I just put a full blast in the universe. We need a place to go. And somebody saw my video on a YouTube video, Marge Astrology. Her channel doesn't even exist anymore. She quit. And she said there's a place in Ranchos de Taos, the lady I know has one, and I'm like, that's too far, I can't do it. And then some some lady in Flagstaff invited us there, and we got there, and then as soon as we got there, it got dark. This person was a terrible, Carrie Gunn is a terrible human being. And I was at my wit's end, and this Earth Angel started watching my videos. I came across her FYP, and I kept coming, and she watched my videos, and she'd say, me too, me too, me too. And I was like trying to hang on. I was like, I know I said, as much as I'm praying, like, I mean, I got mauled by a dog. Like, it was such a sadistic, weird, and that's where I had to learn temperance. I really did. Of all the times I pretended like I was Roger Rabbit, and I pick her up and freaking throw her through the glass place, like, because I'm trying to be a peaceful being because I've been to war. So I don't want the war to win and make me like the people that want war. So I'm trying so hard to be a fucking peace, man. But these people provoke me. And so this Earth Angel came in, and she's like, get a hold of me, call me, and I call her. And I remember where I was walking out in the middle of this field. And I was just this wide open field in Flagstaff. My truck broke, like how we got there, it was a 27-hour drive. It was just, the whole thing was just a crazy thing. And this lady called and said, I want to help you. So I'm going to send you a check for $15,000. And I said, whoa, okay, whoa, hey, thanks. Thank you. Thank you. And she said, yeah. And then so I was putting stuff out on YouTube again. And then the lady said that trailer's still up in Ranchos de Taos. And I looked, and I was like, all right, give me the contact, and I went to town, bought a minivan. We packed it up. The lady wouldn't even let me wait for the movers to come to get the stuff. I didn't have much stuff, but she was like, get out. She wanted me and Mom homeless with the dogs. Like, it's always by the skin of my teeth. That's what my whole life has been about. I just turn it over to, I just do the right thing and not hurt anybody, and then universe creates a path that makes it possible for me to take care of Mom. And we end up here in Taos, New Mexico, and my whole life I knew Mom was adopted. Whole life. Wanted to know where she came from. Lo and behold, after we moved here with all the DNA stuff, we found out she was born in Cuesta, which is 20 miles north of Taos. So she did meet a cousin, Adrian Cisneros. Like, she's related to all these influential, predominant, important people in New Mexico. They just never done her no favor, because when she was born with 2 club feet, so they put her in an orphanage, where she became part of the system. That's why I'm so anti-system, man. It's just so gross. But it's all falling down, though, so that's cool. I'm really excited for it. All the people that are they're going to go off, do their transhumanism. People are already putting chips in their hand because it's quick and convenient and whatever. Just wave it, get on, pass it through. I've seen it my whole life. After I got out of the military, I worked at Creighton University Medical Center. I was surrounded by doctors, and then I moved over to the university side. Then I'm surrounded by frickin' professors and priests and all those icky things and nasty stuff. And that was the best job I ever quit, is Creighton University. The dirty Jesuits, and it's all a club, and that doesn't do. They do things that are dirty in the dark, and any groups that do that, I am not gonna be a part of. So I quit. And I was a part of the military. I got pictures. I got a box of pictures here. Bring out the box of pictures. I'm autistic, and I've been recording stuff my whole life, and I had a backpack I'd take to work with me, keep my lunch and stuff in. And I found I had those disposable cameras. I didn't even know it was in there. So I just took it out and started popping shots. And lo and behold, it's 2025, and I got pictures of the Flight Line of Suda Great Big Creek. That's where we bombed Iraq from. You know, I didn't see no signs that I couldn't take no pictures because it's all Greek to me. You know, and this is what it's about. It's swimming around in pools, you know, and when people get a date, they're just hanging out drinking beer, you know, like while the single moms and dads are at home in the United States just like at their wits' end because these kids and like, you know, they're just, you know, boom, diddy, boom, boom, boom. A whole box of these photos. This pool, they just redid this pool. It's you look it up. It's called it's in Hania, Chania, on the island of Crete. Because we were here and then we had to drive 45 minutes to Suda Bay to play. So it's weird. I'm playing tourist here and then by day and then by on my days off I was playing soldier, American soldier. Dude, America is I'm here to explain to people that Washington D.C. and Hollywood, they use the same budgets. They serve the same purpose, is to get America, people as a collective in the United States as a whole, to believe in a contrived reality. First, they make war cool by MASH, the Green Berets, stuff like that. Get them all gung-ho, go, go, go. Pride, yay, love, USA. And then we go over there and do bullshit. And then we're still doing bullshit. You know? We're still doing stupid stuff because somebody's writing a script someplace. So it's so they buy Humvees. It's so they see it on, they see on the, oh, look what they did. We never have any reason to be over there. I just want to take an opportunity to acknowledge what's happening in the Pacific Northwest. All of the towns that are being misplaced. This is the stuff that I've been talking about for 9 years now. You know, and it's happening. And that's scary to me. Because when I see pictures in my head in 2017, and then they're the same pictures that I see on TikTok of towns gone. Because things always change, and we just need to prepare better and have places for people to go and just be, because they just lost everything. And I know what it's like to lose everything, because I can't count how many times I lost everything. It's so funny. It's amazing I still have my teeth. Mom and I, we have our evening routine. We brush our teeth together and stuff. I said, Mom, you're like the 90th percentile. I said, you might not have known what day it is for the last 15 years. I said, but you're still the 90th percentile because you are 75 years old, Ma, and you still have all of your own teeth, and you got a pretty smile, Ma. She has one gold tooth back here. I said, Ma, that's my inheritance. You got to keep it clean. And so, she's so cute. She always says, you got such a pretty smile. And I say, Ma, it's your smile. I just get to use it for a while. Keeps her wanting to stay here. And I say, you know what, Mom? Mental health is so bad in America. And people don't got a faith. They don't got no kind of faith. They don't know how to have a faith. So I gotta so I gotta let them use my faith. I gotta have a faith so big and so strong. I gotta work so hard and prove my faith to just good orderly direction. That's what I consider God. I'm ordained too. I'm a pastor, Pastor Marge. I'm a Heyoka. I'm a contrarian. I exist to show the world that the world exists in a different way, that we create it. And my teachers are nobody local. They're Carl Young. They're Edgar Casey. They're Dolores Cannon, and I did see Sylvia Brown in Council Bluffs. My teacher is vibrational frequency, so I put myself in places where there's a lot of high vibrate. That's why I was in the military and I was a mechanic, the zoom zoom. But now I learned my lesson that it's easier to calm my insides down instead of trying to get the my insides to match my outsides, because now I'm losing my hearing, so I'm reminded all the time of having the zoomies. And if you go out in society, where I live in northern New Mexico, I'm surrounded by a bunch of freaking little brown people with inferiority complexes, and they all drink a lot, do a lot of weight, they crossfade, just like whatever they could do to escape their reality. And they got these big old souped up trucks, and New Mexico, man, it's just got it's like a video game. It is. It's evolved into Grand Theft Auto. And I don't even play video games. I just have watched other people, and I've thought about it. I've tried, but I take care of mom, and I don't want to get that sucked in this, and people get sucked in like the way I look at it, I have it. I was a mechanic in the military, and then I wanted to use the same skills, but I don't like getting dirty and laying around in winter and the cold and all that stuff. I'm getting old and grumpy. I was old when I went in. So I went IT. And so that's what my background is. And then I worked at, these crazy companies. I worked at the company where people called to vote for American Idol, where you call in to vote. The number, the line groups, they had all these line groups. So I mean, we would move like in the snow, 10 inches of snow on Saturday when the offices were empty, and move like freaking 80 computers from this. It was like dance, puppet dance. It's like, I hate corporate, like, I'm so glad the American dream is becoming a realize it's really a nightmare. It really is. Like, so many people are destitute. They are. They don't have. I believe as much misappropriations. Misappropriation of funds, of fraud, waste, and abuse that I have witnessed in this box from my time when I was in Crete, when we did that in Iraq. Like, every American has, like, we should have places, centers, where people go, and then we're like, okay, how do you want to live? How do you want to live? Let's talk about climate. Let's talk about, like you want to be long term, do you want, let's place people where they want to be. And then when they're there, they're going to want to make that place the best place it can be, because they want to be there. We have all these born and raised puddles of frickin' shit stains on the fabric of society that generationally just are inbred, just all this. I'm sad, Let's give they just had the 7th person jump off the Taos Gorge Bridge, and all I can think of is we have to create a world that is worth living in. Because I just said that the 7th person just jump off a bridge, and you're talking some stupid stuff. And that's why society is down the tube, because people play too much and they think stupid things are funny. They don't know, they don't have any practical skills. They get broke down in the road, up the road, they get out of cell service. They don't have the cognitive brain function to figure out how to get themselves out of a bad situation. And that is America. So I see how it's going to go for a while. I see how it's going to go. It's gonna get pretty, yeah, because, 3 days. You take people's food away and water away 3 days before people start, what do they call it? I had an AA sponsor that worked at Stratcom, and they go on vacations and call it TDY and send them on fun little camps and teach them, you know, like play war and stuff, and let the civilians get an idea of the what it feels like to ride on a helicopter and boom diddy boom. And then they talk about scenarios, and it only takes 3 days from the time that food sources are cut off before people are eating other people. Not 2 weeks, 3 days. And this is per military exercise 2010, 11. Military intelligence is an oxymoron. It is. Military intelligence is an oxymoron. Artificial intelligence is a lazy man's tool, like the leaf blower. Nobody that lost everything ever cares about that stuff. They don't. Because when you lose everything, you figure out that stuff doesn't matter. You know what stuff matters? A clean shower, a place to do laundry, a place to unwind, because the world is, there's not a whole lot of places that people can unwind. I'm trying to make a place where travelers can go and do laundry. I'm going to have a real nice outdoor kitchen. If they don't know how to cook, I'll cook for you. Just hang out with me and Mom and decompress. Recharge your batteries and go out for another round. Try and make the world a better place against the people that don't want to. World War III is of a spiritual variety. I've been saying it for years and years. I've had the foresight of what's happening now for several years based on my experience. I'm just here to offer my strength and my hope that there is a way to a better world. It's just going to take more individuals to wake up every day and consciously make decisions that are going to benefit not just themselves, but everybody in their close proximity, and let that ripple out into their community. And more people do that, that's how we get heaven on earth. By just not eating apples all over. Oh, Stanley. The cats say, hey Stanley, he's all fish bidgety. Huh, kitty. Where is he? I don't want to put the camera. Oh, there he is. Mom's back there sleeping. I got her a new hair bonnet. She loves it. I said, it's all right, Mom. It's official. We're old ladies. We're officially old ladies. Huh. Yeah, all that. I mean, I track all this stuff because I got an IT mind. My brain is a computer. I treat my body hopefully like a computer too. My heart is my processor. And it's like I think about the course of my life, and people talk about cryptocurrency, and I just think about it's just such a resource hog. It just hogs resources. It just takes away from people. Like where I live, they don't have electricity out in the desert. They don't, like the world is very animalistic. It's a very hard place, and it's very in tune with the stars. I do want to put that little plug in there. It is. We came to this storyline. I listen to Molly McCord, and astrology is so freaking funny. Okay, because there's the story in the sky that is spoken in mythology. And then we have these alignments within ourselves, and then we make our choices and act out the story in the sky. Well, mom's a Sagittarius. She just had a birthday. She just turned 75 on the 28th November. Stanley's chilling. She's Sagittarius. Molly McCord made point that Sagittarius are Centaur. And I'm like, okay, yeah, I know that. Then she was like, Chiron. Chiron is also a Centaur. And I was like, holy heck. I have Chiron in Aries. If you ever heard about Chiron in Aries, I have Chiron. I live, I'm trying to give these astrologers my chart, knowing my story, so they can use my life as an example. I'm not significant enough I can't break through the firmament with them. I don't know. Anyway, so I'm a Centaur too. Which is funny because I see how beings, I'm veering away from terminology like people and humans. Because it gives people a false sense of security in the world. Because we're just beings. Okay? And there's a lot of beings on this earthly plane, whatever shape you want to look at it as, that would regular people aren't ready to see them without their mask. I've seen them. Usually when I've been intoxicated, I have seen the craziest stuff. Because I'm a full spectrum person, and I'm curious, so I go to, and then I stop going to the places where the really weird stuff happens. Nothing good happens past 10 o'clock. So, yeah, there's so much weird, dark stuff on planet Earth, and the rest of the world is starting to figure it out right now. That's what's happening, is that there's no more people pretending like they're good people and all that. It's just, basically everything's out. It's the whole world is that story in the Bible of Babylon or whatever. It's just everybody's just doing whatever they want. They're just chasing sensations everywhere, But it's what I'm finding is, I heard a talk today. Who was it? I think it was Penny Pennington, and she was talking about how I was talking about Molly McCord and how we're centaurs, and which is funny is because we always liked animals more than people, and it's because we're half animal, half people. And I've looked at other people before, and I'm like, nah, they ain't all that big. I've seen women that have had porky, pig DNA. When because I went to a lot of AA meetings and stuff, and I've just always studied people. And their personality matches their because some women with their pumps, they look like they have hooves, there's just so many different, and humans and people, words like that is just terribly misleading. So I just use beings. I'm trying to use beings. We're just beings, there's heck, I always thought I was an alien. An alien's a frequency. I agree with Sloan that, spaceships aren't traveling through it. It's like a deck of cards. I look at time travel as like a deck of cards. You're jumping from one line to another, and you just end up in one potentiality. Hello! The world is not what it says in the textbooks. The textbooks want people to believe that is what's true, so that they can keep people. The way we're living, I look at it as like we live on an alien ant farm. Like that movie, that documentary Men in Black. I just, because we tap into collective consciousness, and that's how you know that like the Nielsen's and the consensus and stuff like that, that's how they create reality based on ticket sales. Who goes to the movie? You know, like they're going to swing it and make people believe in this because it's easier to believe in something out there than believe in yourself and, you know, accentuate your own community where it matters. Like go out. It is cool though, because my FYP, I'm seeing more people like just picking up garbage in there. I'm like, I'm seeing the world change in so many positive ways. It's unfortunate that so much damage has to happen up in like all over just because people have to learn. You know, it's sad as it is that these people, you know, it's like my parents lost everything. They lived there 50, 60 years. My grandparents were one of those people. My grandma was one of those Eastern Star women Freemasons, and my grandfather was a Freemason in San Luis Obispo County. And like my grandma started Quota Club and did all this stuff in her community, and she had all this privilege. And it wasn't until I was an adult that I figured out all the shady shit she did. Like Mom, we got kidnapped one time. My aunt came to pick us up from the doctor's office because I have a brother, and we were trying. I was a little autistic kid. I was stuck to Mom like glue. I didn't want to let her out of my sight because the custody student and all this stuff. And they said, no, you have to wait out in the lobby. And they took Mom, and then we didn't see her for 8 months. And so, like, because the doctors, there was no HIPAA, or if there was HIPAA, that didn't matter because people get paid off. Like, that's the environment that his name is Jerome. He's a big, important lawyer for California that threw me and Mom away. We're one of them, those Masonic sacrifices. I just haven't died yet. I'm just still here. And I don't want to. I ain't suicidal. You know, I value life. I'm trying to get people to have reverence for life. Because we only have such a... another result of what I'm seeing is happening now. I got my medical card redid today, and every time I talk to Carol, the med lady, we talk so much because she's a talker, I'm a talker. I think she's a Gemini, and I was telling her about how, like, we got to create an environment that people want to live in. We have to. Because there's no way there's 7 million. That's just something they say. That's just something that they say so that they don't have to give you money. So we don't have to have things like universal income. Well, there's not enough. Yeah, the fuck there is. You guys are just stupid cousins that are stingy. I would agree that maybe there's a billion. But I've been all over the world, and every place I've been, there's never been evidence of 7 billion people. And if you watch TV shows like Northern Exposure, which was on when I was in high school, they talk about, there's an episode, and they're like, there's only, I think, like 4 billion. I can't remember, you know. I'm just like, yeah, it's just statistics. I know a guy, he's a professor at Creighton. Statistics, we used to have some cool conversations. You know, we're about the same age. Like, his dad died, brought the cakes. They're all Freemasons, you know. I've always been on the fringe of the clubs. I just never got the nepotism and the advantage of it. Because I'm a true speaker, and they like their dirty secrets. And I'm autistic, dude. I don't know what other people see. I just talk about my life experience and people that I've spent time with. I'm ready for a lot of people to be terribly, terribly embarrassed, quite honestly. You know? I bet I know people on the Epstein list. People that I once knew. People are dirty, man. I'm a prude. I am a prude. No, I'm a prude. No, no, no. I would never, ever bring a life to this earth. Because I got all the stuff that happened to me when I was younger. Like, I have dogs and I have cats, and that is it. That is my karmic retribution. Is pet rescue. I just lost 3 dogs in 11 months, so it's changed me. That much grief. Those little shits, I knew they were good, and they were all different ages. It was just boom, 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 bye, 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 and I was just like, ah. They all just died of natural causes. It's just life. They just all, because they're all butters. They're all brothers. They couldn't be without each other at the Rainbow Bridge. Are you kidding me? Well, I got one left, Luna and Stan Lee. I'll get more one day. I got a big old Pet Rescue is gonna be part of my travel center, where it's gonna be a word of mouth where people that I connect with can come and hang out. It's like that Ben Davidson guy does. Only I ain't gonna charge people, but you gotta bring your own place, like, to stay. It'll be like a campground, but it'll have all the amenities that you can do laundry. And if you got, it even have a little auto place where with lifts and stuff, so people can, and all the tools you could ever use, a bench stock, where you can, you can just come in and work on your stuff and have parts delivered there. Because I'm in good standing with the delivery people and stuff. So I got all kinds of ideas on how to make. I'm just tired of people making like so much money, and then they just talk about how important they are because they make so much money, when in their own community people are freezing to death. And it's only going to get worse. All the people in the Pacific Northwest that have lost their houses, where are they going to go? That's the only place they've ever lived. Where are they going to go? I have money. I have all the money I need. That's the thing, is I don't have Earth in my chart. That's why I'm so motivated to help people. I have so much money. I don't have a lot of money. What? How much is a lot of money? What's a lot of money? My bills are paid, and I have enough to make stickers and buy stickers. I'm looking for an embroiderer. If anybody knows of an embroiderer, I need an embroiderer. My embroiderer quit. I'll be right back. I don't know where my cup is. So this is how I try to raise community. But see, New Mexico is such a toxic place that they don't really want to raise community. The cat truth. So this is what I do. I make these. When I was a 9-year-old girl, I actually still have the picture, the original. You don't see, that's why you're here, is because like attracts like. That's my whole thing about frequency. And so I drew this picture when I was 9 years old. We live on 426 Manzanita Lane, across the street from Biff's Burgers in Mission Square, Redding, California. It's my commercial because I love their burgers. And I always did the rainbow like this because this is how I always pictured it in my mind. And then I found out like 4 years later when the school said I was autistic, and I thought they said artistic, so I started to like totally get into drawing and stuff like that, and weird kid out on it. And so, like, I dated this lady, last chick that dumped me. She had an embroidery business, so I've had t-shirts made, but I need another embroiderer. So I make stickers and magnets, and then I give them to people everywhere. And then I tell them my spiel, like I came up with this when I was 9, like, I just want, and what it is I'm native, my dad, mom is Spanish and native, is what we found out. And then my dad is the lizard blood. He's got the, like, my grandma, ancestry. Her lizard relative is a man, and if you look at him, if you look at his picture, dude looks like a lizard, and my face is in there. So I'm part lizard, and then I'm part like indigenous. So what am I, lab rat and alien, like whatever? It's all subjective. It's all whatever. It doesn't matter what people are. It matters what people do with what they are. And that's why I just want to call us beings and just, being a decent person. It's just about being a decent person. I love seeing like strangers having picnics and stuff. I love doing stuff like that. I'm trying to get work done on my car, but people hate me in Taos, so they don't want to deal with me. And so they don't want to deal with me. So, and I can't, I used to be able to do, that's cool. I used to be able to do stuff more, but my body's falling apart, so I can't do stuff like, and I need help, and so that's all right. I'm gonna have my travel center one day. And then people can call, and we could trade stuff, like, hey, help me work on this, and then I'll help you work on that kind of thing. That's what Earth is supposed to be about. But it got hijacked by these weirdos that drank too much and freaking hung out in their basements too much and played DD and freaking, created a fantasy world, and they forgot that, toilets gotta be plunged, and, you gotta have water and food, and who's gonna produce that, and more and more people started, living in the fantasy. Why in the dark? Because my mom is 75 and she's right over there. She's sleeping. So this is like her bedtime story. That's why. Yep. Otherwise, I would have my lights on. Like here, how's this? I got this light. We got the one that, where's the one that changes the settings? We could do that. Plus, I don't like light. Yeah, no, there's just, people are opening their hearts. It's the way the world's changing. It's just not fast enough for my liking, is all. Chop, chop. I want people to get up off their couch and do something. They are. And it doesn't really matter what other people do. It only matters what I do. And every day I get up and I do something. And then sometimes people see me and they're like, "Wow, look at that shit that chick doing something." And I'm gonna do something too. And every time, like, you can't go through Taos without seeing these. They're all over. They're like little Easter eggs. I want people to walk through Taos and hashtag straight people like rainbows too. Because nobody gets the rainbow. I've given to these to TikTokers and said, hey, I can't go out a lot because I gotta, stay close to home. Mom don't like to travel a whole lot, stuff like that. She likes her shows and her normal and her stuff, and I gotta do it. It would be great if you went out and put these around and did hashtag. Would they do it? No. Because everybody's so fucking self-absorbed. I'm trying to build community, and they're trying to get freaking hoard as much, money for their fucking beer and cigarettes as they can, and weed. And so they could live the same day over and over. And the only thing that's changed is, the little figures on their dashboard. You know how hard it is because people help you out. What do you do to help out other people? It's just, I don't go out much because I just get triggered by everything. People can always do, and then I just try and stay in my lane, and then I just avoid society. That's all. I just avoid society. I just try to avoid the rush at all costs. Go out when other people aren't there. I love Taos. I love this town. I love the land. It's so pretty. I love it when nobody's around. I love it on holidays when I can drive through town and nobody's in the parking lot in any of the grocery stores or Walmart. That is when I love Taos, New Mexico. Because when people start coming out, they start racing around. There's always accidents, and there's no accountability. Nobody's culpable. Nobody gets in trouble because everybody's related to the judge. And that's why they do it, because they can. And look at society everywhere. Look at all the machismos are doing whatever they want because they can. You know why they're doing it? Actually, they're doing it because they can. Here's a little tidbit. Last year, the United States government spent 58 million, look it up yourself, $58 million on male enhancement drugs. That is $58 million for men that cannot perform. That's a lot of really sad wives. That's a lot of men that have emasculated themselves because only they in here can define what it is to be a man. And that's why so many people I'm like an a-hole magnet. Like one of my videos got over 1 million views. I'm sure it came out a year ago, 2 days ago. And it's good that it doesn't show my face. And every now and again, I like to share it with people. I shared it with the Carol again, the lady that redid my medical card today. But this video right here got, I call him Deputy Doofus of Taos County. It's like 10 minutes long. It's pinned on TikTok. It's on YouTube. He opened my car door 2 times, stuck his billy club, and then it's. I'm glad it worked out in my favor. I really am. See, I know what I can and I can't do. That's the thing is okay. The whole fraternity, brother of butt stuff, the whole police, all of it, it's all a club. It's all a club. And it's all, I can't stand any of it. And when I was in the military, I was in age. So I was I was base support. I wasn't just flight line support. We supported the whole flight line. And so when it was winter and they had the cops that would sit out the gates, we would have to go around and bring them heaters. Even though they had everything they needed, but they're a bunch of little freaking meh. And and so when I enlisted, I actually asked the recruiter, I said, you know, I said, are the police the second lowest test score, or I said, are the police the lowest test score on the military entrance exam? And the recruiter said, no, they're the second. I said, what's the second? Or I said, how much do you need to score? I said, what? She said, services you have to get a 37. To be military police, you have to get a 38. And I was like, so they give dumb people guns. That's great. And then I was like, well, I guess they're, easier to control. All you got to do is give them pew pews and then yippee, I'm a man, or whatever, whatever gets their goat. And we had these heaters that we'd bring out. And my friend Mr. Ishki, he was the heater guy. He was a civilian that took care of all the heaters. Just the heaters. We just had a whole inventory of heaters. And they're supposed to go to the aircraft when they did the on-ground maintenance, because they're most of the time the planes fucking those bucket of bolts. It's amazing that I don't like flying because I know what airplanes are. So all these people flying, I'm like, dude, the wing of an airplane, there's only 3 bolts. Hang that shit on. You're like, whatever. It's a wing and a prayer. You're risking everything every time you wake up your eyes every day. It's yeah. I forgot what I was talking about. I'm getting tired. I don't do talks this late. I was talking about the heaters. So we'd have to go out and bring these SPs, these cops, these airplane heaters to help keep them warm, and they would break them. They would take these ducks that were, because they were heater ducks and air conditioner ducks, and they would take them and squish them down so they could stick them in their window so they could get all snug and bug. So they'd wreck these they were like $10,000-$15,000 for these heater ducks. Because somebody had a cousin that had a heater duck factory. So they're like, oh, let's get through appropriations and get you a bunch of money so you can pay for all those houses and vacations and ungrateful children's college educations. That's what the military is about. It's just a club. It's just so a lot of people can get benefits and do whatever they want, but so many people suffer and fucking rot in the streets. That's America. Let's say it's like that, so they do. Fucking Lord. So yeah, I don't have a very high opinion of police and sheriff and all that. And I'm gonna get off here because I'm tired and I'm thirsty. And oh, I bet Mom's water over there. We don't. I've had to go along with police brutality. I've been in handcuffs and like fallen on my face, and they laughed at me, like, and I'm like, you guys suck, dude, like, because there's nobody around. I twisted my ankle. It was just like that. It was so inhumane, and that's when I started realizing that there's all kinds of beings on this. There's people that just like to watch things suffer, like burning ants, and I think that's what Biff. That's what I call the leader of the free world, America. I call him Biff. I won't call him nothing else. He's a dipshit. Orange Man, maybe I'll call him that. But this world is like, I mean, it's all a stage. Everything is, there's freaking groups of people that sit around tables, and then they decide on the reality of which they're gonna get. Because that's how we create reality, is by imagining it. There's times on Earth where people would sit in rooms and imagine constructions of temples, and then they would come together, and with vibrational frequency and water and sand, they would create just because cooperation is nature's ways. And so anything otherwise is, to me, is absence of spirit, and to me absence of spirit would make somebody demonic, like driven by things that they can't help. And I live in the world where clones exist, and kids are hunted and all that stuff. I mean, that could have been my fate, where the inverted person, they gave Mom stuff to me, in me. They've been messing with me since I was in her womb. They used to put stuff in me to make me different than what I could have been. And I just accept it. I just try to do the best I can with who I am, whatever it is that I am, alien, Oh, that's what I was going to do. I was going to show you my lizard ancestor. He wrote the first. I like to fish. I like to go fishing. I like to get in the minds of the fish. Plus, I grew up watching movies like The Incredible Mr. Limpet. This is my lizard ancestry. Here he is. Isaac Walton. Yeah. It's the lipless. The blue bloods. They're the lizards. The blue bloods. When I grew up in Atascadero and I'd have to go live at Grandma's house, stay at Grandma's house for some reason or another, I didn't really like her much. She wasn't very nice to me. She was like the sweet little white hair old lady. Like a Betty White. I don't think Betty White was a real rad lady too. I just think she was a real good playing. Because she, no. I know who the evil are because I've been touched by evil. So I know what evil feels like. I know how they dress. I know what kind of colognes they wear. I know what kind of fabric softeners they wear. I know what kind of shampoos and leave-in conditioners. And I know what this the kind of what their makeup smells like, you know, because they give me hugs and they pinch my cheeks and I know all these things and I just try to share them with other people. I try to tell everybody, I try to share everything I know, just so people can learn from my mistakes. Don't do what I did, you know. But the good part about always being the outsider, odd man out, is that it really, you know, it shows me, and with my military background, with like, you know, looking for discrepancies and everything, I have so many ways to help build any kind of community. Because I could do a satellite ship, thanks for hanging out, here, and then if people could, travelers like what I do, I could help them build someplace where they want to settle. Because eventually, the life on the road gets too hard. Sweet dreams. Rest easy. And people want a place to, you know, at least to be for more longer periods. You know, we're nomadic. We're travelers. People that stay stuck is because they don't have an opportunity to live the life they want to. And I want to see more people get an opportunity to live the life that, you know, this institutionalized beehive mentality, it's just got to go. Like this control Roman Empire, all that storyline, it's got to change. I'm ready for the fairy tale. And I'm just the fairy to tell the tale. It's funny because it's cheeky. It's cheeky. Straight people like rainbows too. It's cheeky because I'm not. That's what I got for now. Thanks for hanging out. Hope you have a rad day. Peace.